Hello and welcome back to the Wrexham Way. Hope you're all doing well and looking forward to today's episode. At the end of the January transfer window, today we're going to talk about the players that we have signed, some players that have gone on loan a little bit, and hopefully we're going to be talking about some big wins against Bournemouth and Leicester, amongst maybe signing a couple of players. So welcome back, hope you're all doing well. Make sure you do drop a like on the video for me and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here and leave a comment down below for the YouTube algorithm. Right, first things first. Let's talk about the players who have joined the club so far before we go into the fixtures, because some of them have scored goals and that needs a little bit of explaining and context, obviously. So, if we go to the transfer history, two players have joined the club. One you will already know about, Roko Spadina, the 17-year-old, now 18 years old, left-back from Croatia, who we signed in summer but had to wait until he's 18 years old to join the club. So he's now here at 18 years old and looks pretty decent. He's not as good as Josh Tymon right now, although physically he is. Mentally, I think they're pretty similar, and technically he's nowhere near quite the level of Josh Tymon, but 18 years old is of course only going to improve. The most mental thing about this guy though is his valuation. For some reason he's valued at 50 to 74 million pounds, which is, I'm not entirely sure where that's come from, but if we can get 74 million pounds from him, he is gone straight away. Absolutely gone. Anyway, welcome Roko. He's been a pretty decent player for us so far, so hoping to see him develop quite nicely this season. We've also broken our transfer record for Federico Sione, the striker that we spoke about at the end of yesterday's episode. He's here at the club now, signing for 9.5, rising to 10.5 million pounds. Now, in summer, we looked at strikers. We wanted to sign a striker at a combination of good finishing, good composure, and good pace. And we could find strikers with one or two of those attributes, but not all three. Now, we have one of these strikers with all three of these attributes. 16 finishing, 15 composure, and 15 pace. It's fantastic. His physicals all over are pretty decent, apart from the natural fitness, which is a little bit frustrating. He's also got pretty low long shots and passing, which again, could be worked on. Work rate could be worked on, but at 20 years old, resolute personality, I'm sure he will work on that and get better as he grows up. Now, currently he's played one game forward. It was a cup game and he scored a goal on his debut, which is fantastic. But since joining the club, he's actually gone back to Argentina to play with the under-23s in the Olympic qualifying rounds. He's actually in there with Gaston Andreucci, who is in the under-23 teams for their Olympic qualifying. They got through the first round. They're now in the final stage of it, which is fantastic for them. So congrats to those two. They're going to be away for the rest of the month, as you can see from these games. In Colombia, we also had two players playing. We had Fabian Manjarres, who's actually out on loan at MK Dons right now. He played most of the games actually for them, which I find pretty interesting because he's probably a League 2 standard player according to the coaches right now. Whereas Herrera, who is a Premier League quality player, has barely played any minutes in this competition for Colombian under-23s, which is a little bit surprising to me, but I think he had a great time with Colombia. So these two, I think, are now back at their respective clubs. Obviously, he's gone back to MK Dons. Herrera's now back with us because Colombia got knocked out of this. Now, there are two other players that we tried to sign so far this January. One of them is Philip Shu. We tried to sign him last episode, and of course, his contract demands were absolutely through the roof. After he left AAB, he went to Nottingham Forest on trial, which was a little bit weird. Then we put a bid in for him, or the contract offer for him, and he was much happier to bring the wage down to £22,500 per week, which we settled on. Unfortunately for us, West Brom are offering him more money, and they are probably a more reputable club than we are. So he's gone to West Brom instead, but they are currently bottom of the Premier League, so I assume he'll be a Championship player next season. A shame to lose out on him, because he would be great to bring in on a free, but he's not the be-all and end-all. He's certainly not the best centre-back in the world. The other player that we tried to bring in is this guy, Taha from Bursaspor. Now, we put in about £4.5–5 million to buy him, which was accepted, but he didn't want to sign a contract with us. It then has transpired his contract ends in 6 months' time. So, rather than spending £5 million now, I think I'm more of the mind to just try and sign him for a free for next season. I think we can hold off until next season to sign him now. 2 weeks ago, when I tried to sign him on a free, he was not interested in talking to us whatsoever. However, he's now pretty keen to talk to us. So, I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure what he's on about, but we're going to try and get him in as an important player. Can we get rid of the strength in midfielders, please? Suggest a long way off. Okay, we need to put back on strength in midfielders then. Or is this going to be another situation where we give him exactly what he wants and he's just not going to be happy with us? Okay, we'll strengthen midfield for you and make you a star player, because I presume he will start every single game, and he is now happy with that. Right, the wage could be an issue. He's not talking to us about wages, right? 38 grand a week is McPhillips suggesting. I should also say Sione is on about 30 grand a week himself, the new striker. It's a big, big deal. We need to make this more preferential to us. Let's get rid of release fee clauses because that seems a bit scary, and top division relegation wage drops because that won't please him much at all. Let's get him on 27 grand a week for 4 years maybe and bring these fees down a little bit. Let's see what he says. Suggest 73 grand a... Okay, well, I think this guy might be out the question. Now, there are certainly some of the players that I do want to try and bring into the club that I think could improve the team. Mohamed Diamandi is one of those players, and I think he is looking pretty decent. Hopefully, is going to be affordable for both contract and transfer fee. But I do like the look of this guy. I think he could really improve our midfield and add some much needed experience in that midfield as well. We've got quite a young midfield, I must say, apart from Galbraith, who's 26 as well. 15 caps for the Ivory Coast suggests that he might get a work permit, but the scout seems to say he won't get a work permit, which I'm a little bit confused about. But I think he's being sold for £4 million right now. I think as transfer status, discussed with agent, what's going on here. 400k to 4 million, but he wants 40 to 50 grand a week. Again, the wages could be the limiting factor here. Let's just put it down to like 2 million. Suggest they want 3.1 and then stuff down the line to make it 6.5 million. Let us remove and bring that down to 500,000. So 3.5 million. Let's suggest that, and they want a little bit more. They want 4.5. 4.5. We can do 4.5. So now I've shown you the transfers and we've made a bid for a player. Let's talk about what's happened in between episodes since you were last here for the Liverpool draw and the Crystal Palace loss. Well, two very important games. Sheffield United and Brighton. Both of those teams are around us in this division and they both beat us 2-1. It was really frustrating to lose those games because we knew that we could do it, but we didn't do it. We did get back to winning ways against Preston in the FA Cup, and this is where Federico Sione has played his only game for us so far, getting a goal on his debut, which was fantastic. And the good form carried on into the Southampton game, another important game for us, as Wrexham got the goal from the penalty spot to make sure we won. We then had a very nice 1-1 draw against a very good Leeds United team, so that was a pretty decent result for us to make things look a little bit nicer this January. The thing is, other teams are catching up with us a little bit, and whilst we sit 14th in the table on 22 points from 23 games, you can see Bournemouth and 17th are just 1 point behind us. Everton and 18th are just 4 points behind us. Brentford in 19th are just 5 points behind us. It's really tight at the bottom. A couple of games where we slip up, gone. So the team in for this game is Torre Brecche in goal with Spadina, Thomas Parry, Cambuala and Dylan in the back line. Alec as the anchor with Ostergaard and Galbraith in the centre of midfield. I thought Herrera was back by now. He's not. Apparently he's back on the 27th of the 1st. It's currently the 22nd. So hopefully back for the next game. Jacobson and Rebergen on the wings because Pizarro is currently suspended for this game, which is not ideal. And of course, Roxvarg is going to be leading the line for us this season. I mean this game, but he's been doing it this season anyway, to be fair. So I guess they both sort of interchange a little bit. Right, so kickoff is upon us here today. And hopefully we are going to get a result. Bournemouth are currently 1 place below us in the table. With the point they're getting from this game right now, they do actually leapfrog Southampton and Sheffield United. So this is huge. Like, this is a monumental game for us. Now, we beat them 3-0 earlier on in the season at their place, so hopefully we can do something similar here today. But Nassi is coming forward, takes the shot. Torre Brecche with a good save. Angel Gomez on the floor for Bournemouth right now. Is he injured? Slightly injured, because he's a very good player, so it'd be quite nice if he went off the pitch. But hopefully with just a very minor injury, because I don't want him to hurt himself too badly. Alec on the ball for us, though, on the 30-minute mark as we look to bring it out from the back. Ostergaard nearly loses possession, but does hold on to it in the end as the ball to Roxvarg is flicked on to absolutely no one. It's just a shame that he's just not quite as good as maybe we'd want him to be at this stage. He's got a lot of potential. I'm sure he'll be great in the future, but we just need to make sure that we treat him well, as Ostergaard with a huge challenge there to win possession back for us. Rebergen now with a chance to go backwards to Cambuala, going back to Rebergen, out wide to Dylan, and Dylan finds Galbraith, who loses possession, unfortunately for us. And again, it's a battle of the midfield right now as Thomas Parry makes the interception. Ostergaard finds a nice through ball to Jacobson. Jacobson waiting for people to arrive in the middle. Gets the cross into Rebergen at the far post, who heads it just over the bar. Very unlucky from us there. Best chance we've seen in the game so far. Hopefully we'll see more going in our favour as Bournemouth look to bring it out from the back. The Championship winners from last season who beat us to the title by a single point. They've got a player called Escobar on the pitch who loses possession into Wrexham, who just really should have shot and scored. He's not done either of those things right now as Galbraith into Rebergen shoots and he scores, luckily for us, his 8th of the season to tie himself with Wrexham as the top scorer in our team. But crucially, in this relegation 6-pointer, we're looking like we're going to get 6 points from the games against Bournemouth, although there is 60 minutes still to play in this game. So let's not talk too soon because we know how that's gone recently. Now, the reason I mentioned the Escobar in the Bournemouth team is because I feel like I don't really normally see Escobar as a name of Football Manager, but we've obviously got an Escobar. There's an Escobar playing for Bournemouth, and I've seen in the Argentine team as well, playing with Gaston Andreucci, another Escobar. And I'm starting to think maybe we just try and build up a team of Escobars at this stage. And it's also quite good because we've got the striker, the one at Bournemouth the defender, the one in Argentina is a midfielder. Like, we can have a whole team of Escobars in the spine of a squad, and I think that would be really, really nice, to be fair, as Bournemouth score a goal. Okay, not quite ideal to be conceding just before half-time, but look, it's a point. A point would be good enough today. Of course, we're just trying to keep up with a point per game, and as we are almost on it right now, we're 1 point behind that ratio as it stands right now. I'd still be happy just being 1 point behind it. So a draw for me would be a good result. But it's been a while since we've seen a win on an episode. So it would be lovely today if we could get that win as Torre Brekke makes a superb save there from a great Bournemouth shot that was curling into the far post. The resulting corner, though, is swung into the middle and cleared out from the back. Good. Now, please finish the highlight or go on a counter-attack. Let's not let Bournemouth score as the highlight finishes. Now, we are on the attack instead. Dylan into Rebergen, who loses possession immediately, but position is gifted back to us fantastically. Spadina finds Alec into Ostergaard, into Galbraith, into Roxvarg, who finds Ostergaard, who does not quite get there in time. Just a little bit more pace from him, and he would have got there to beat the keeper. But the keeper, really good work from him, to be fair. Will there be another chance for us, though, as Ostergaard once again on the ball, out wide to Spadina, in so much space to put a ball across the middle into Jacobson, who somehow does not get that on target. How is that not on target? Well, it's not for the lack of trying. We are really trying to push for a second goal here today as Ostergaard once again being put through. Jacobson can't get on the end of that one. You hate to see it. And now here come Bournemouth. Please don't score, Bournemouth, as they get the ball on the edge of our penalty area to put the cross into the middle. That time it is a very good goal. Oh, that's so annoying. The lack of a clinical edge is costing us here today. As, again, we're just so nearly there. If Thomas Parry had just been a little bit quicker and got there in the back of the net, easy. It's just, we're just so nearly there. Sione in the team today, maybe he would have changed things. Speaking of changes, let's make a few, shall we? Let's make a few. Let us bring Escobar onto the pitch, I think. Let's see what he can do out there. Ostergaard, not in the greatest of games, but it's Satura who's got to come on for him at the moment, and that's maybe not the greatest move ever. We'll do it anyway. We're speeding in it, also coming off for Josh Tymon. Come on, lads. I'm going to shout encourage as Escobar with a free kick. Again, it's so annoying. I mean, both of those free kicks are just so nearly in the back of the net. The keeper is pulling out all the stops here for Bournemouth today as Tymon cross into the middle is cleared only as far as Dylan, who finds Thomas Parry, who finds Camboala back to Dylan, and I think the highlight's just going to finish because, yeah, there we go. Oh, it's so frustrating how close we are. How close we are. But just not quite there. And if we lose this game to Bournemouth, that's Bournemouth going ahead of us in the table by 2 points as well, which does not help us out massively either, as Carlos Escobar now on the ball, looking to do something with it, can't find Galbraith. It was a poor ball in the end, really poor decision from him to try and do that. Still, we are pressing high up the pitch. Keeper clears it into the path of our players, Camboala. Camboala now brings the ball down and brings it forwards. Right, do something clever. Nice, into Rebergen. Nice and clever. Into Galbraith. Nice and clever. Back to Rebergen. Nice and clever. Into the middle. Escobar. Again, it's that last second block from the Bournemouth defenders that are just doing it. We just need that extra bit of everything, really, don't we? We just need to be that little bit quicker with everything. And so I'm going to shout, demand more for the final 10 minutes of this game. We deserve to win it. Look at the match stats. We have been the better team here today. Sadly for us, though, it's not enough. Not quite enough today. I think today we really missed having Pizarro on the pitch. I think we really missed having Sione for us, and I think we really missed having Herrera in the middle as well. We're also going to be missing Diamandi because there's no way we are paying him 52 to 70 grand a week. No way are we doing that. You can be an important player, we can be a star player, that's fine, but not on 56 grand a week. I can't pay that much money to you. I do think, though, we could do with just someone extra in the back line. And there's definitely a couple of players who could maybe fill that role, but look at the wages, and wages are going to be a big issue. There's a guy here currently playing for San Lorenzo in Argentina, one cap for Argentina. We don't know too much about him, though, which is a little bit frustrating. But it does suggest here that he's as good, if not better, than Lucas Holter, and is pretty high up in most of the rankings in the Argentine league. But it then says championship current ability, leading championship player in the future, which is a bit frustrating. Whereas if we look at someone who's transfer listed, like Keiki here at, is that how you say his name? Keiki? I don't know. Keiki maybe is a little bit better, maybe. Kai, we'll call him that for now. A ball-playing defender that we know a fair bit about, currently playing at Southampton. Thing is, will be expensive contract-wise, and is going to cost us £9.2 million. We don't know too much about him, but if we compare him with, for example, our best centre-back, which is Lucas Holter, very similar. And actually, in the green, Kai is a little bit better, isn't he? We don't know much about his attacking, that doesn't matter. We know he's technically better, his vision's better, his speed is better, his physical, defending and aerial is just as good. Mentally, Holter has him a little bit. And I presume he plays a fair bit for Southampton, right? Doesn't he? Last season he did. Played very well in Brazil. I'd be tempted. 9.25 million is what they want. Can we bring it down at all to, like, I don't know, 6.5? Let's say 7.5 or 7.5. Can we bring it down to 7? So they've gone to 9. 7.75 then. What? What's this about? Why can I... Right. They're having a laugh. They're having an absolute laugh with me right now, but fair enough. What about Charlie Cresswell? He is valued a lot less. And actually, if we just compare him quickly with who we were looking at before, Keiki. Cresswell is not quite as fast, but is actually probably quite similar, aren't they? Well, is he valued at 3.3 million? Can we just put 3.3 on the table? And they say yes. Okay, well, let's see what the wage demands are. Keiki is 34 to 47. Cresswell is 25 to 30. Well, it's Cresswell then, isn't it? I think. Let's just double check this on the transfer thing here. Regular start, he likes that. He wants 40 grand. Let's just quickly go to Cresswell, who I think is probably going to be the better option here. He wants, so we don't know what he wants, but we're suggesting 19 right now. Get rid of that and that. Suggest he wants 29. We can bring some of these down, can't we? I think. Relegation release fee clause, that's fair enough as well. It's more than what we've paid for him. Bring that down to 23, up to 4 years. Suggest he wants 28, 24. Suggest, yeah. I think Charlie Cresswell is the better option out of these two. Let's walk away from this one. Plus, he will help with the homegrown status of players, because we do need a certain number of players made in England as well, so he'll help with that. Bradley Fink wants to go out on loan to try and get a permanent move away from the club. I'll be honest, he's not played much this season. 9 games, 1 goal, 6.67 average rating. We've obviously just brought a new striker in. Maybe we just sell him. Suggest 5 million. Try and get him gone, maybe. Maybe it is a little bit harsh, but he is not offering us anything better than what Sione does. Sione basically comes in to be a better Fink, basically. Although there's no offers on the table for him, which is a little bit sad. Transfer offer to clubs, let's bring it down to like 4 million then. As long as we get more than what we paid for him, which was £1 million, I'm happy with it. But in good news, Charlie Cresswell is here to sign for us. So welcome, Charlie Cresswell. Happy to see him joining the club. A good Premier League player, I think. A good Premier League player. He has played a fair amount of games for Burnley in the Championship and Bournemouth in the Championship. I think it's time for him to have a step up to the Premier League. If we compare him to Lucas Holter, our best centre-back, who is a Premier League quality player, Cresswell actually might just take it. They are so similar, but Cresswell might just take it. But of course, that has really upset Adam Thomas-Parry, which is a little bit upsetting. So let's just try and get Paul to convince him that he shouldn't be unhappy that he's going to lose his place in the team. He's not, we can't... Look, I'll ignore it. Still, no clubs want to sign Bradley Fink. We'll talk to him to try and find a club, and he's happy to do so, but I'm a bit confused as to why no one wants him. Anyway, we have finally made it through to the Leicester City game, which is good. So hopefully we are going to have a good result here against Leicester away. I swear all the games we've played on camera recently have been away from home. I can't remember last time we did a home game. Was it Man United at home we drew to? Because I'm pretty sure Man City was away. I think it was Man United at home. Also, clubs are now bidding for Fink, but they are not the bids we wanted. But I'll be honest, I'd rather maybe just get him off the books at this stage. He's not going to play. He's on 10 grand a week nearly. These guys need to push their prices up a little bit. Well, Basel won't get him. I might say yes to St Gallen and Luzerne, though, because we have paid £900,000 for him. Let's say yes to Luzerne, because that's a 50% increase in what we paid for him, isn't it? We'll give an ultimatum to St Gallen as well, I think, and just say up it to 1.5 or you can't have him. As for the team, players are back from suspensions and injuries and all sorts, and Cresswell needs to be registered in the team as well, so confirm that. Right, well, first and foremost, let's go back to the team selection and let us get, I would say, Herrera back on the pitch for Galbraith and then Galbraith on the bench, please, and then maybe swap those two over to suit their feet better. Pizarro can come back on the pitch for Jacobson, which means he can come back onto the bench as well, which is great. We also need to get Lucas Holter back on, I think, instead of Thomas-Parry. Swap those two over, although they've not played very well together, Cambola and Holter. Neither have Herrera and Ostergaard, apparently, but we're going to give it a go today. That's the team that I think will do a good job. Submit, go. So, as kickoff is upon us here today for the second game, we need to get a result here. Otherwise, we will be struggling just a little bit in towards the second half of the season. Now, I still think we're good enough to stay up, but it's going to take a monumental effort in the second half of the season, particularly after losses to Bournemouth 2-1, to Southampton 2-1, to Brighton 2-1. All teams that are now just above us in the table. Had we won all three of those games, we'd be high and dry. Absolutely fine, but we couldn't get them in the second half of the season, which is really frustrating as Dylan on the ball into Alec into Herrera, Ostergaard into Dylan. Dylan's through and cannot score the goal. You hate to see it. Pizarro can't get the cross into the middle properly, and Leicester can clear it out from the back. Now, we've played Leicester twice already this season. We lost in the League Cup third round 3-2. We also drew 1-1 in the league with them, which was pretty decent. That was at home. We are away from home now as Rebergen looks to bring the ball forward into Ostergaard, who gets it out to Dylan. Dylan to bring the ball right down to the byline into Rebergen, into Herrera, who shoots. Shot blocked, and again, it's another one of those situations, right, where we get plenty of balls into the middle. We're having plenty of shots. As you can see, 4 shots to Leicester's 2 right now, and yet we just can't quite get them in the back of the net. The frustrating thing about this sort of thing is that we haven't made these mistakes in the past. We're just making them now. Thrash the arms, what was that? Get your act together and sort this game out, please. We need you to do something. And again, I mean, look at the match stats. I mean, Leicester are way up on us on possession, right? But shots, and our XG is actually higher than them, to be fair. And yet they've got tons of green ratings. Their keeper particularly on a 7.4, which really gets to me. We've seen lots of that recently. Rebergen with a corner into the middle, cleared. And here comes a counter-attack as their strike has been put through. Torre Brecche, we need you. Or maybe we don't because he's terrible. Thing is, we are relying on other teams below us not being very good. And right now they're not being very good, which is very helpful to us as a penalty? No, come on, seriously. Right, we've seen Torre Brecche make a good few saves this season so far and in the past. Make another one now, please. Nearly. Ever so nearly there. I think at this stage too, you know, 2-0 down, what the hell? Let's try and go a little bit more attacking, shall we? Let's bring on Carlos Escobar as the pressing forward. Rebergen as the inside. No, in fact, I tell you what, well, let's bring Lorca on instead of Rebergen, who's not really played very well at all today. I mean, most players haven't, if I'm honest with you. Let's try that out. And so, with 20 minutes to go, we've changed formation. Will it actually help us out at all? I don't think so. We are slowly dropping down in the number of chances that we are creating, and Leicester are doing better and better as Thiago Almada gets the ball inside the penalty area. Back to Patson Daka, 3-0, that's game over. I don't really understand it. You've seen us pull off some absolutely fantastic results, like the draws to Liverpool and the draws to Man United. They were absolutely fantastic results, and yet when it comes down to it, in the games that we should be winning or, challenging for, like the Bournemouth game, I suppose we did play better. We had more shots and everything in that game, didn't we? But we just couldn't get the goal that we needed, or the number of goals that we needed. We should have scored plenty more in that game. A Leicester game like this, we've absolutely fallen apart. We are just inconsistent. We're inconsistent. That's our biggest issue right now. And I think the form we're in right now, particularly losing some narrow games like Bournemouth, like Southampton, like Brighton, those narrow scorelines are culminating into a period of really bad form. Like, do we deserve to be 4-0 down today? No, we don't. Not a chance. We do not deserve to be 4-0 down. They've had 7 shots on target. That's all they've had. So today has not been the greatest of games. Gives us something to think about, as the board won't sell Fink for less than 3 million. I mean, okay. It begs the question, I think some of you guys have brought it up in the comment section about bringing in a new keeper. And I don't want to, because we've got 2 really good young keepers on the books. Really solid young keepers. But if I get rid of the age on this as well, not that's going to matter too much, I don't think, get rid of the age. I don't know how much good it will do. Like this Lucas Schneller guy, currently at Bayern Munich, 26 years old, decent Premier League. If we just compare him with Torre Brekke, we are seeing in the green that his eccentricity is 18. Like, you don't want 18 eccentricity. Like, Torre Brekke is really good for just 1 eccentricity. He's actually better at distribution and in the air. Physically, just the same. Mentally, about the same. Shot stopping, this guy's much better. We don't know anything about this guy's speed. So it's not like it's going to be that much of a big improvement, is he? If these are the best keepers that want to join us, I don't think it's going to be a huge step up or anything like that. And again, shot stopping's good, but Torre Brekke's as good in every other area pretty much. So I don't know what we're going to do. So I think next episode we try and play through quite a few fixtures actually, and try and get through to a North London derby of Arsenal and Tottenham. That might be quite good fun to do actually at some point. So we might try and focus on that, which would be fun. So thank you very much for watching today's episode. It's been a tough one. There's not long left to go this season, and it's going to be a real fight to the end. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you have done, drop a like on the video for me, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and leave a comment down below for the YouTube algorithm. Until next time, have a lovely afternoon, evening, whatever you're doing, and I'll see you soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.